have air conditioning because it doesn't happen very often here.
No, we've got ours cranked up.
Didn't
But
you have a bunch of fires there or something? And because it was so hot and did you say 2 minutes, Kenny? It's like 2 minutes. Okay. Oh, we're now. We're supposed to
I
be.
have 7 on the dot. Here we go.
I don't have it live on my thing, Kenny.
Here we go.
Yeah, I clicked it. Looking here. Oh, this video is live now. Watch live. Let me see.
Here we go.
Oh, there we are. There we are. All right.
I think you said that the last time too.
Oh, there's Michael. We're waiting
There's
until a few
Michael.
more people come in, and then we'll start.
Yeah, they're signing in. It's 7 on the dot. I've got. Yeah, there's Michael. Hi. We see you. Oh, the miracles of technology.
I know, isn't this great?
And there's Craig.
And
I
there's
knew Craig would be here.
Craig. Hi, Craig.
Hey.
Welcome.
Oh,
Other guy going to the All-Star game.
yeah, look at that T-shirt.
And Craig is wearing his Lizzie Borden T-shirt.
Yeah,
That's great.
we're loving your T-shirt, Craig.
Machine's broken.
This
one.
I don't think I've ever seen so many.
Hi, Joanne. How are you?
I think I'm out of Zachary last actually, so.
Hi,
It
Robin.
must be a big thing here, but
So these are people that are joining the
Apparently
chat
they're a big thing
outside
today.
of the Zoom. We're talking to also. This could get a little tricky.
thanks, dude.
Okay, so we're gonna get started.
Background.
Hopefully, we won't have a lot of influence. We're going to get started, though, but I want to say hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lizzie Borden Tea and Murder Podcast, the 130th anniversary show. I'm one of the hosts, and along with Shelly Dietz, the amazing Shelly Dietz, and we're so happy to have you all here. So we decided to do a Zoom-style podcast. So first, we can meet you all, and second, we can give you guys a chance to join our discussion. We know that a lot of you are passionate about this case as well as we are. And we're also going to have some raffles. We're going to have Rena come on a little bit later for her tea talk. And we're going to allow, each of you a few minutes we're going to do like a Zoom round table when we bring up the topics.
Oh, nice pick. Oh, that's great.
And I know everyone's very passionate about the case, so there's a
Very
lot
wide.
of difference of opinions. So
You can go.
let's
Go for it.
respect
I would
that.
go for it. Yeah. Okay, no, totally a game.
All right, so yeah. So Kenny, can you put us all up so we can all see each other? It's kind of hard because I don't know. Somebody was talking and I don't know who was talking. But Shelly, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, some of you may have seen either on Kimbra's Facebook page or my Facebook page. We put up 4 polls over the past 3 weeks and asked you to weigh in with your opinion on different things to do with the murders and the aftermath and Lizzie's life after she was acquitted. And we had some interesting results, and we thought we'd start out maybe by... Yeah, I'm getting some background noise.
Still winning.
Okay,
Is
so
everybody-
we're this can be a little chaotic. So we're like respect everybody's space when we're talking, but we're gonna go around the Zoom room first. I just want to see where you guys are from. So we'll start up with I don't know. I hear somebody talking, but I don't know who it is because I don't see anybody's mouth going. So that's funny.
They're ventriloquists.
It's the ghost. All right. So, David, let's start with you. Where are you from? And just tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, I'm from Westchester, Pennsylvania, and I've been interested in the case since I was in high school, and I've been to the house twice with myself and my wife and my family, and I'm a lifelong aficionado. And I love all your books, and I appreciate Shelley's historical perspective. And thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Great, great.
It's nice to hear.
Thank you. And
I've been at it for 30 years.
We enjoy
Well,
talking with. Oh,
No cure. There's no cure, David.
No, you're right. And thank you so much.
thank you for talking with us too. I enjoy our conversations.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So back to Tracy and Stephen.
Hi, folks. We're Tracy Stephen Kennedy. I grew up actually in Warren, Rhode Island, and lived a long time in Swansea, Mass. We met and worked in Boston together and ended up moving further and further away from the coast. So now we're actually in upstate New York and right outside of Saratoga Springs. But we've actually been to the house a couple of times. We actually got a group of people that slept overnight in the house, and that was a great experience. So we played with the Ouija board, and we asked the question of, where's the murder weapon? And the Ouija board spelled out in reverse order in the barn.
Yep.
Wow. What
Can
room
you
did you stay
can you
in?
guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
What room?
Okay, sorry about that. My speakers were not working. I was trying to
We
get
got
us.
you.
Sure.
We got you now.
What
I
room?
can
What
hear
room
you
did
now.
you guys stay in?
We went to the entire house.
Well, you and me, we wound up staying upstairs next to the kids' room because all the other rooms were taken. We let
Okay.
everybody get their first choice. So, right next to the kids' room, between the kids' room and Bridget's room.
Oh, you were in Jennings then with the sewing machine.
Yes.
Yes.
And just so you know, we're practical jokers. I actually brought my Bluetooth speaker with my phone and recorded some haunted house noises. And about 2:30 in the morning, we started letting that roll.
I've had guests like you before. I worked at the house for 18 years as a nighttime tour guide, and the best job I ever had. Let me tell you, I retired in 2016, but for many years I did the script for the reenactment. I'm originally from Maryland, but met my husband at the Naval Academy, and that's how I ended up in New England. And I love it here. And it's close to Fall River. I'm about an hour away.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so
No,
then we
you
got
got
Kevy.
Mhm.
Kevy. So tell us about you. A little bit about you.
Hey, I'm in Ottawa, Canada.
Oh, nice.
If you hear some background noise tonight, it's because I'm at a pub watching a football game. So I apologize for that. So, but I'm a newbie to the thing. Of course, since before time, I've known of the Lizzie Borden saga, and that. But I got I took on a bearded dragon about a year and a half ago, and I called it Borden. As in lizard Borden.
I got you.
So I started saying, well, maybe I should look into this a bit more, because I didn't know a lot about it. And I started reading books. I read it's Kara Peterson's book.
Mhm.
And I'm currently going through is it Rebecca Pittman?
Rebecca Pittman. Yes.
Rebecca Pittman. I just started her book. And I'm like not even 100 pages in, but it seems to be a bit more in depth than.
It's a big book.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting.
And then I've got the two, a gentleman by the name of Jordan, Anthology 1 and Anthology 2. Anyway, they're on my to read list. But my to read list contains over 30 books. So.
Am I
I'm
on
hoping-
your to read list?
No.
Oh, I wrote a book. It's called Inadmissible: The Case of Lizzie Borden and Other Murderous Women.
Okay, my
And
gosh.
it's awesome.
Okay,
It's awesome.
I am definitely going to look it up as soon as we're done this meeting. I wasn't aware of it. I apologize.
Yeah, it's not like the typical Lizzie Borden book. I discuss other murderous women of the time period and try to tie them all in. So
Well, I've got a gecko that I've called Dyer for Amelia Dyer.
oh, okay.
So yeah, your book, I'm definitely going to look up. There's
Awesome.
another book I started reading by a woman I can't remember her first name, but her last name is Lincoln.
Victoria Lincoln.
That's pretty
Yes.
good book,
Gordon the
Shelley,
Private
right? She was one of the
Disgrace.
first
Yes.
ones. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a wonderful book for atmosphere. Yeah.
Is it really? Okay, because I
Excellent.
started reading it, but in the preface, there's a lie. So I said, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Do I really want to read this? So I put it on the shelf and I said, okay, I'll get back to it at a later time. But,
Yeah. Read it for atmosphere and her theory. Is
okay.
interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
So anyway, that's my story, guys. Sorry, and
Thank you.
I'm going to go on mute because it's getting loud here.
Okay. So, Lori? Is it Lori? Can you hear us?
I'm about as far from, I could barely hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you fine. Yeah.
I'm about as far from Fall River as you can get. I'm in Seattle, very hot Seattle. And I've had the Borden bug since whenever I can remember. So I'm interested in hearing your opinions and experiences.
Great.
Good enough.
Awesome.
We've sure got plenty of them.
Okay. Who is it? Michael.
Yes, it is. I'm from North Carolina. I've been interested in the case for years and years and stayed at the house last year in the murder room. Had a few experiences in the murder room.
Mm-hmm.
For one thing, before the ghost hunt, I was laying on the bed with my feet over the wooden part. It started vibrating some.
My goodness.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, welcome. We're happy to have you. And we want to go to Craig. And you got my little package, right, Craig?
I did. Thank you so much.
Okay,
I
good.
did it.
Good.
Well, I'll do the quick version, my Lizzie story. So, and you'll probably find this a bit funny. So in 1975, I was 7. Never heard of Lizzie Borden at that age. I didn't even know who she was. But I was looking through the TV guide one night and I saw a movie that was going, you know where I'm going with this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw a movie that was going to be on TV called The Legend of Lizzie Borden. So I didn't know who she was, but I recognized Elizabeth Montgomery because as a kid I said, oh, that's the Bewitched woman. I love her. I love the show, so I'm going to watch this. I don't know what it's about. Well, of course, my parents wouldn't have let me watch that. There's no way they would have, but they were in the living room and I was in their bedroom sitting on the floor and they didn't know I was watching it. So I watched most of it. It was a school night, so I don't think I watched all of it. But turned out to be rather a big mistake because I had a nightmare so bad that night. I still remember it to this day.
Oh my gosh. What year was that, Craig, that you saw the movie?
75.
So that's the year the movie came out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw it when it premiered.
Yeah, it was 75 on. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I was only 7, and so I didn't know who she was. I just recognized Elizabeth Montgomery from Bewitched, so I figured, oh, I'm going to watch this.
Well, that movie was the taking off place for many of us. It was for me.
Yeah.
I saw it in 1991, and the timing was good because there was a centennial for the murders in Fall River,
Right.
and the local university held a week-long symposium, and my timing was great. And so we were going 30 years ago is when, I got the Lizzie tizzy, and that's because, of the film, like you, from seeing the film on TV.
Yeah, but and the thing is that, as I said before, it was probably not a good idea for me to watch that because I had a terrible nightmare that night, and I still remember it. It was I dreamed that I was being chased up my street at night by a woman but she didn't have an axe, and it wasn't Elizabeth Montgomery. Yeah, it was strange. It was a woman's face I didn't recognize. She had a baseball bat, was chasing me up the street with a gang of people behind her, and I ran into my house, I run into my parents' bedroom, shut the door, turn around, and the devil's standing there with an evil, like, little smile on his face. And then I woke up. So
Well, you were 7, right? You were
I was
7.
7, yeah. So, but
Yeah.
it was so, I
Hey,
still remember that.
I was 26 and it scared me too.
So,
But so as a kid, your attention span's not, I forgot about Lizzie for a while, and then but she stayed in my mind, the name and all that, and so when I became a teenager, I started reconnecting with it, and I started researching it a little bit, buying books, whatever books were out at the time. I don't even remember, but
There weren't a lot at the beginning. Wasn't a lot to read, if you remember.
No, yeah. I mean, I was a teenager in the 80s.
Yeah.
So.
And now there's plenty of stuff. There's loads of websites and podcasts and Facebook pages devoted to Lizzie, and tons of books. So many you don't even know what to read first.
I have Parallel Lives. I have Past and Present, Rebel. I just finished Rebel's book. I
love that book.
I finished Spencer's book, The Case Against Lizzie Borden, recently. So I have a couple more that I didn't get to yet. But
so I'm looking forward to meeting Spencer on Wednesday. Mr.
Yeah,
Spencer.
I saw that. Yeah,
Bill Spencer.
So I want to get to Rusty. Rusty's here. Can you hear us, Rusty? We don't see you, but are you there?
I could. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
can hear you.
Yeah, I tried to do to start video, and it just stays on. Like, it doesn't want me to start the Liz. I don't think Liz wants me in this meeting.
Did you try? You started video, and it wouldn't let you start video.
Yeah, no. And then when you just asked me to start video, I say start my video.
Yeah.
It won't. It blinks, but it stays blank. At the bottom of the screen, there's the camera with the line through it. If I click on it to get rid of the line, it doesn't do it. The only thing I can do is mute and unmute.
Well, we can hear you fine, and I guess we'll see your name. Although, if you figure it out, I don't know, maybe it's as simple as logging out and logging back in. It's a possibility, because Zoom's kind of tricky sometimes.
Check your settings in Zoom to see if click on the video tab. Make sure it's defaulting to your webcam for video.
Yeah, I'm on my phone.
Okay.
That's all. I'm lost there.
We used to do this at work all the time, but I used to host classes for Zoom. But this now.
Oh, Rusty, and you. That's funny.
Well, I have to do it at work too.
Tell us about your interest and where you're from.
Me?
Yes, Rusty.
I am, originally was from Connecticut. Now I'm over the line into New York State, 40 miles north of New York City.
Okay.
And I started being interested in Liz back in 1972. I was 13 years old when my best friend said, "Hey, do you know about Lizzie Borden?" No. So I went to the library and got, I think it was the Edward Radden book. It was another one. And read that, took it home. My mother read it. She and I became like, this is the most fascinating thing we could possibly get into. I went to the library and looked through the New York Times article back in 1892 on microfilm, copied all of those. And just when Liz Montgomery made this movie, it was just like, okay, all right, the world is going to stop that night so we can watch it. And my mother and I watched it. My father thought we were crazy. I've been into her ever since. And then 10 years ago? Yeah, 10 years ago, we went to the house on 2nd Street. And that was just like, that's the, what do you want to say? The highlight of every Lizzie Borden's band.
Yeah,
and of course, the second highlight was thank you very much to Sue Vickery getting to go to Maplecroft.
To Maplecroft, yeah.
How many raise of hands? How many have been to Maplecroft?
I wanted to, and it's too late now. But I always hoped I could tour that place, but unfortunately, I didn't get there.
Well, not yet. Never say never. The new folks moved in last Tuesday. The
I like your virtual hand. I'm sorry.
And they have 3 young children. She's an artist. real nice family, and they sold a Queen Anne house, beautiful. They restored it in New Bedford, so they have a sensitivity for historic properties, and it's kind of nice. A family is there. I think Lizzie would be happy.
Yeah, she'd like that.
I
Okay,
think she'd
so
like that.
Shelley, we want to get into the polls we ran for. Well, you ran actually for the last three or 4 weeks, and
Yeah, there's
we'll
a
start with the
couple things.
first question, and then we'll go around the room and we'll ask of your opinions also. So the first question, Shelley, was
one of the polls was with her fortune, that all the money she had, she could have lived anywhere after the acquittal, and she decided to stay in Fall River. So why do you think she stayed and didn't relocate? 40% of those responded said she didn't know the reaction that she was going to get from the rest of the town, and she thought things would be back to normal when the trial was over. 40% thought that is why she bought Maplecroft and stayed in town. She couldn't anticipate what was going to happen. 36% said she was stubborn and she was not about to be run out of town.
Yeah.
So that's pretty darn close, you know.
That was
And then 12% said other reasons. It would appear that she looked guilty if she fled, took the money and ran. 12% said that's why she stayed. She didn't want to appear to be guilty. 4% of you said she was innocent, had nothing to hide, so why move? And then there were 4%. Emma convinced her to buy the house there and stay near family. We had a few comments to people.
Yeah, I just want to just give my answer real quickly. I thought someone had told her to stay. Like, that's all. Like, that's as simple as my answer was. I think I put it in other, because I seem to remember somebody said they had told her to stay. It would be better for her to stay.
maybe a friend or maybe Emma.
Yeah. So, Shelley, can we go around the room and see? Like, we'll start.
Yeah,
with
let's start with
Tracy.
David.
Oh,
David, why do you?
Okay.
Why do you think she toughed it out in Fall River?
Well, I think she was abused. And I think that she did what she had to do to survive. And I think she, felt that she deserved a happy life. And so she got what she got. She got what she got when she did what she did. And she lived happily ever after. That's what I think.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to, Tracy and Stephen?
And Stephen, why do you think she remained in Fall River?
Well, I'm thinking that once she got the fortune that she got, inherited it, she was all about being social. And to her, it was all about being able to get up on the Highlands in Maplecroft and just try to be the highlight of society and blend in with all the other rich folks up there, because that's where she felt she belonged. She had lived in a life of, even though they had the money, but Daddy didn't want to spend any of it. So she said, well, you know what? The money's there. Let's spend it. Let's have a good time.
That's a good point, that she felt she belonged among that echelon of society. Yeah, especially after she went on the grand tour with some of the wealthy gals from up the hill. Right. She got a taste of the high life. Liked it. She liked it. What do you think, Craig?
Well, I was going to say, Tracy, do you agree with that?
I do agree with that, and she was stubborn, definitely.
Okay.
Stubborn. That's where she belonged.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a few things, what you mentioned. I think she was stubborn. Well, everything I've heard about her personality tells me that nobody was going to tell her what to do or where to live. I think she was pretty, what's the word?
Determined.
Adamant.
Determined, slightly intimidating. I think slightly intimidating. I think she was not going to get run out of town. And I think also what somebody else mentioned too, that she always well, I think we know she always wanted to live in the great house on the hill there, the big house, and be a part of that world. So I think it's a combination of both. You know, nobody was going to tell her where to live or run her out of town. And also, she always wanted to live in that kind of a house and, you know, live in that area of Fall River.
Yeah, who wouldn't? Yeah.
What's interesting is I've read some stuff where some people might have suggested that later on she might have slightly regretted staying there, maybe thought it might not have been the best idea, but I don't know if I believe that. Because, you know, because of kind of what happened to her afterwards, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've got Kevin. What do you think? Can he hear us?
You might be taking a happy nap.
Yeah. Sorry,
okay,
sorry. I'm just a little slow on the update there.
You're checking the football scores, weren't you?
Exactly.
Is football on?
I was in the well, I live in Canada, so we're watching Canadian football.
Oh, okay.
Right. I was in the 40% bracket.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that I had said that is because throughout the trial, she maintained her innocence. And I think in her mind, whether or not it's true or not, she believed her innocence and wanted to stay. And then Stephen brings up a really good point that I never even thought of about the status factor. About, okay, this is my chance to finally make it big in Fall River and move up the hill. So that was a good point that I never thought of, Stephen. Thank you for bringing that up. So anyway, that was why I had gone in the 40%.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Michael, you want to weigh in on this one?
For me, I felt two things. Number one, she loved the area. And number two, she really wanted to live like a rich person, so she stayed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm on board with that one.
Yeah. Rusty.
Absolutely. Okay, Rusty, are you still with us?
I'm here.
Yeah.
I agree with them. She was like, okay, I'm going to be here whether you like it or not. And if you don't like it, too bad, because I'm going to be here and I'm going to live my life, which she did. She, had her chauffeurs to take her to the plays and things like that. She had more money than God, and she did help people with things. And I also think that there's this part of this New England, I can't explain it. If you don't grow up in New England, you don't understand it.
Yes.
But it's kind of like when she became Lizbeth, it was like Lizzie no longer existed. And whatever Lizzie did, that wasn't me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this really interesting thing where you can divorce yourself from something that you don't want to admit. When I was 20, that's a different me. That doesn't exist anymore. And that was over. That's done with. She doesn't exist. Boom. And that's how I think Liz looked at herself.
So you think she could compartmentalize everything that happened before?
Yes.
And,
yes.
I've known people like that. Yeah. It's almost like it never happened. You're a separate person now.
So
right.
I've often wondered if she did it, if she convinced herself that she didn't do it, psychologically.
Yeah, amnesia.
So Savannah chimed in. She said Fall River was more or less all she knew. Where else was she going to go? And
now,
we
who
lost
said
David,
this?
Kenny. You might be coming back on. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. And have we gotten to everybody? Did we hear from Lori?
Lori, no, we haven't yet.
I fall into the stubborn category, but Lizzie herself said late in life that she had been cut, she had been shunned, and she pretty much said when they find out who really committed the crime, I want to be there and I want people to look me in the eye.
Yes. She was going to stand him down, by gum.
Yep.
That's a Yankee, crusty old Yankee. I live with one. I know. Yes. Absolutely. Did we get to everybody on this question? Yeah? We ready to move on, Kimbra?
Yeah, I think so. We kind of lost David. I hope he comes back. I'm not sure what happened to him. So
Okay.
are we ready for the next poll question?
Okay, I'm opening the file here. My printer's down, so I'm reading this off my cell phone. Here we go. Open. I'm saving the best one for last, the who done it. You know that one. That should be interesting. I've changed my mind a few times over the years. Okay, do you believe the verdict would have been any different if the jury had heard Eli Bentz's testimony about the prussic acid, Alice Russell's testimony about her dress burning on the day after the funeral, and Lizzie's inquest testimony? And the results were pretty much what I expected. 34% said yes, Lizzie would not have been acquitted if all of that had been admitted. That was a little higher than I thought. But 50% said no, it probably wouldn't have made any difference if the jury had been able to consider those three big items. And then we had some comments. 15% said other.
And that's with the Eli Bentz testimony, the Alice Russell's testimony about the
Dress
burning dress, and the inquest
Lizzie's
testimony in there
yeah,
too?
That's
and
right.
And they still 50% said it wouldn't have made a difference?
Right. Half
Wow.
of them said in the
Okay.
end, they think she still would have been acquitted.
Okay.
And then the other, the other 50% were divided with, yeah, she probably would have been found guilty or other. So about, half, exactly 50%. So, we had some comments. It'd be difficult to answer. It might have strengthened the state's case. Lizzie might have been found guilty by reason of insanity. A few other comments came through, but yeah, that was pretty high.
That's
Some
a
would
tough
say
question. Yeah.
it is a tough question that the jury was predisposed into finding her innocent from the get-go. And I mean, she had the very best attorney in the state of Massachusetts. I've had a happy month of July looking into Governor Robinson. Fascinating man. Put up some videos of his home in Chicopee and his career. So
Shelley,
she had a good attorney.
Why do you think they thought that the jury was predisposed? Because they were men?
Because they were men, a lot of them had daughters Lizzie's age.
Right.
And they couldn't wrap their mind around, like their daughter taking a hatchet to them. And she was a dainty little morsel sitting there every day, dressed to the nines. And she was 5'3", and beautifully dressed and very elegant. And to look at her, as Governor Robinson says, you'd have to think she's a fiend. I ask you, you look at Miss Borden, does she look like a fiend?
Yeah.
And the answer came back, well, of course not. So were they slightly prejudiced and, not wanting to find her guilty? I would say so.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to start with Stephen and Tracy. Thoughts?
What would you say?
I would go along with that because I think there was a lot of feeling that it was too heinous of an act for someone like Lizzie to perform on herself. So
yes, any woman.
That was a prevailing thought that I think the jury was going on. So to answer the question fully, I think anything else that would have been brought up still would have been considered circumstantial. Without the dress, you say yes, she burned it, but what is that going to prove now that we can't see it? So really, it doesn't do much to sway the opinion that it's still too heinous of an act for a woman to do.
Exactly.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, David's back. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
So,
but like I was saying, until you actually give me the the smoking gun, everything else you're going to tell me is circumstantial.
Yeah.
Well, I think the smoking gun was the dress that she burnt, and I think that they did not find a dress when they were searching for a dress that had anything on it. And I think that was the smoking gun, but she got rid of it. And I think she was abused. I think she wanted to have a good life, and she got what she wanted. And she did what she had to do.
We're talking
Unfortunately.
about the poll question, David. And
Yes.
since you're here, we might as well skip to you. The question was, do you think if the jury had heard the evidence about the burning dress, the poison, prussic acid, and Lizzie's inquest, would it have changed the results, do you think?
I think so. Yes.
You think she would have been convicted if they heard it?
I think she may have been convicted because they did not have that evidence. And I think she, I think that was critical. If somebody burned a dress that was not found during when they were searching for a bloody dress, I think that they would have questioned that. I think
you're going to join the 36% who thinks
I
would have made a difference.
I think she might have done it.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, Craig. Yeah, you're showing up next here.
Yeah, I'm on the fence about this. I think she probably still would have been acquitted, but I also think that those decisions that the judges made about that testimony really hurt Knowlton's case. I don't think it was super strong to begin with. Obviously, he didn't, because in the letters between him and was it Pillsbury? The correspondence, you can tell he didn't really want the case.
No, he did not.
He didn't think we could win it. But I think she probably still would have been acquitted. But there's no doubt that those decisions really,
hurt the state. Yeah.
They're kind of, when you read about the judge's decision there, it's kind of mind-boggling to me that they would not allow that testimony. But different time, But
I wonder about the bloody towels in the basement.
Well, that's I think that was a perfect little excuse for Lizzie to use.
Perfect cover.
And then Bridget said that she would have cleaned them if they were there several days before Lizzie said they were.
She said she didn't see them there. She did the laundry the first couple days of the week.
That was a big red flag in the trial for sure, David. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
That's good one. Good one.
So I just want to, I didn't even realize I made a pun like that. Like, okay. I just got it now myself. Like, it's funny. Sylvana, who's on our other chat, said to this question, Shelley, absolutely not. There was no way they were going to classify her as a fiend. They had preconceptions about the frailty of women, etc. In the end, she was an old New England stock and the daughter of Andrew Borden. So basically she said, like, no way. Hey, Rena, welcome.
Hi, Rena. Well, yeah, we're just talking about the poll, Rena, and we're just ready to see what Michael has to say. What do you think about that?
For me, I don't think it would have changed a thing.
No.
Because the case wasn't that strong to begin with.
Yeah. Well, there were some problems with evidence collection, and boy, we'd be here all night.
Kevy.
People trampling through the house.
Yeah, we didn't want to skip over you, Kevy, because you're in the corner, and then we'll go to Rusty.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I came outside.
Wait, he's outside. I came outside. That's funny.
We see you. We're talking about the poll.
Is it?
Would she have been acquitted if they had all the evidence? Like the Bent's testimony, Alice Russell, and her inquest.
Kevy, we'll come back to you. You froze up, so we'll come back to you. Rusty, go ahead.
Everything is frozen suddenly.
Yeah.
Well, it was a bit loud outside.
We got him back.
Oh, I'm back. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we hear you now.
I always loved that cartoon thing on Facebook where it's like, this is like seances. Are you there? Give us a sign.
Yeah.
I think even with all of that stuff, she had those good lawyers. With the thing about Eli Bentz, that was just too remote in time, and it wasn't done with poison, so poof on that.
Poof.
You're stuck in a house with nothing to do, your house arrest, bored out of your ever-loving mind. Oh, you know what? I got these pieces of this dress that I got paint on. The dressmaker can say, yes, she came out of the room and she got paint on it. So I might as well, now's a good time as any to rip that thing up and throw it in the stove. Boom. There's the answer for that.
There you
and
go.
Her wacky testimony going back and forth. You just Taz. Oh, are you barking at people?
That's Taz, right, Rusty?
Her trial test, whatever, the inquest testimony, she's bouncing all over the place. But with her lawyers, they could have said, well, she was on whatever the hell that stuff was. I can't think.
Morphine.
Promo caffeine or whatever. And so, hey, you're on this druggy stuff. So no wonder she can't remember anything. What kind of people are you to try to expect her to remember every damn detail?
Mm-hmm.
So, they could have had excuses for everything.
I think we lost Kevy.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
Okay.
So thank you, Rusty. Lori?
I
Are
have
you there,
to agree
Lori?
that it was simply more circumstantial evidence. I don't think it would have changed the verdict. I do have a question for David, though. He's mentioned a couple times that Lizzie was abused, and I was wondering who he thinks was abusing her and what evidence there was at the time.
So Lori, hold that thought because I wrote it down. I had the same exact question.
Okay.
So we'll put that at the end when we go through after we go through the poll questions. But
thank you.
But great minds think alike there.
Oh, you betcha. Have we heard from everybody on this one?
No, Kevy didn't say his thing and he's back.
Are you back?
I am.
Okay.
I came outside because it was a bit loud inside. So I'm putting myself, if I was a juror, what would I think? The prussic acid attempted purchase would have raised an eyebrow to me.
Mm-hmm.
But the burning dress would seriously make me consider, would seriously make me have discussions in the deliberation room. Because based on everything else, no, acquittal was, was the right choice based on the evidence that was presented. But the burning dress would have raised some big issues with me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget.
So while Rena's here, Rena, we'll get you to chime in. Our tea lady, welcome.
Hi, I want to chime in on this question too.
Yes. So did you hear the question? It's like, okay, so go ahead.
So I think that for the results of the jury, it wouldn't have actually changed anything. I agree, it's circumstantial. However, in the court of public opinion, I think that even though many people did think she did it, I think that percentage would have been a lot higher. I think that people outside of the courtroom would have really been convinced that she was guilty hearing the circumstantial evidence. However, I do think a lawyer could have argued out of it. And I do think that there's, there can't be direct connections made to the murder. But the people who heard it would say, well, she plotted, just like most of us have heard it and said, well, she must have plotted this. She must have done it. So I think that her life after may have actually been more negatively affected by that if that was allowed in court.
Wow, that's a great answer. Thank you for that. And I agree with you totally. It's sort of like the OJ case. And that's why they compare it, because a lot of people still
I
think
agree.
that
It is a lot like that case.
And he was acquitted also. So so the next poll question, do I have any other comments here? The preferred method of murder for women back then was poison. Lizzie tried that. Poison just wasn't available to her during the window of opportunity. Okay, that's Sylvana. So, Shelley, are we ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah, the next one's interesting. I think Emma Borden left Lizzie and Maplecroft in 1905. And this was after she had met Nancy O'Neill. And Reverend Buck said, well, if things are that bad, yeah, I think you should leave. Now, Emma Borden was very, very close to the Buck family. She'd stayed with them long periods of time, and they kept in touch, even after she had left Maplecroft. So we asked, why do you think Emma left Lizzie? And we had some interesting results there. 27.5% thought Emma disapproved of some of the company Lizzie had at the house, especially Nancy O'Neill and some of the theater people. Also objected to having alcohol at some of these receptions. She was temperance. Emma realized her sister was guilty of murder. Later on, 15% thought that might be the case. Very small percentage. Emma disapproved of Lizzie's spending, flaunting the inheritance, 20%. Emma had lost all control over Lizzie and now was her own woman, very independent in every way, 12%. Reverend Buck suggested it would be better that she left, 7%. Other, 12%. And Lizzie locked horns with Emma on household decisions, such as the firing of her coachman, Joseph Tatro. Emma fired him and Lizzie rehired him. Mm-hmm. So what do they call that? Too many women in the kitchen? 5% thought that is why Emma left. And then we had some comments, combination of all of the above, perhaps. So let's weigh in and see what you think. We will start with Stephen and Tracy. That's I've got.
It's
Stacey
okay. We knew that, Shelley, but we just have that mind, that age thing that comes in. And
well, I'm probably the oldest here by a long shot. So yeah, senior moment. What do you think about that?
I'm gonna let you take that one.
Oh, I feel as though Emma didn't like Lizzie's ways, like you said, with the drinking and her company. That's what I'm going to go with.
Okay.
And I'll back that up with, I think Emma was more like the dad, very conservative, and believed in that way of life and not really flaunting the money. So I kind of go along with that theory as well.
Yeah, that was the most popular theory. That's at 27%. Yeah.
Right. So you kind of like every time I answer, I think about putting myself being someone who lived in those times to try to come up with the right answer on that, because I have to think about the way they would think back then. And I was going to try to chime in on Kevin's answer that he would have felt like it would have changed things for him. But again, be a man back in that time who forever would have thought it's beyond a woman's scope to do something like that. It may have raised a question, but I think overall his predisposition to the way that thought process would have been, he may have answered his own question and still come up with innocent. I'll let him chime back on that if he wants. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Craig?
What do you think? Said Craig, I think you're next here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the company she was keeping and the parties and allowing alcohol in the house, even if she didn't partake in it herself, which I don't know if she did or not. But I think that's what it was. Definitely, yeah. I think Emma disapproved, and I think it got to the point where I don't think Lizzie was going to change her. All of a sudden just stop doing that. So I think she talked to the Reverend about it, and he suggested maybe you should leave.
Yeah. What do you think the goings on were? Remember, Emma said the goings on at Maple Grove.
Yeah, I don't know, because I've read stuff with Nancy O'Neill saying, well, they had at some parties here and there, but I don't get the idea. I don't get the idea that this was happening like every week or.
Oh, no, it was
No.
Nancy O'Neill was on the road. She
Right,
traveled like
right.
crazy.
And I don't think Lizzie was having parties, on her own,
No.
Well, first of all, I don't know who she would invite in Fall River, but
Nobody would come.
yeah.
Yeah, who
But,
would come, right? She eventually had some friends in town. We
Right.
do know Lizzie spent, I think, a week at least up at Tingsboro at Nancy O'Neill's farm.
Right.
And she had one big reception at Maplecroft for Nancy and her whole theater troupe. Yeah, Lizzie rented some palm trees, to put out in the
Right.
veranda, and there was some liquor there.
I think Emma just didn't approve of
Didn't like any of it.
the
Yeah.
drinking and probably the partying. I don't think she probably didn't like theater people very much. My guess.
Can I throw in a little tidbit?
Sure.
I'm from Tingsboro. I graduated high school there.
Oh my. So you know exactly where her farm was. It's a Catholic school now.
Yeah, I do.
I made a video on our channel. I went out there to see for myself. The nun said there's just about nothing left from when Miss O'Neill was there. There might be one little outbuilding or something.
Oh, wow.
Miss O'Neill had a lot of animals out on that farm. It's beautiful. The area, it was a big estate, and it was more than she could afford. Lizzie did help out financially a little bit, and I think she got tired of Nancy live large. And I think Lizzie got tired of maybe being a convenient wallet, and that's why the two of them parted ways. But boy, we'll never know, will we?
No. So we're going to Michael.
Yeah, Michael.
I think that there's some sort of a disagreement between them. That's why Emma left.
A disagreement?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it was about?
I'm not sure.
No. Well, yeah, Emma had kind of lost control over her little sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. Couldn't tell her what to do anymore. I have a little sister, 11 years younger. And she doesn't listen to me anymore either.
So Rena, what do you think?
I think actually Shelley just hit the nail on the head with it, with Emma's loss of control over Lizzie. Whether or not you think Emma may have orchestrated things that happened with the murders or was in on it or knew about it, it seemed like there was a controlling presence from Emma. So when Lizzie started doing things her own way, including all the things that Emma was against, like drinking and these parties, she couldn't take it anymore and left. So I think that it has to do with the loss of control, and that caused all sorts of disagreements and things like that.
Yep, I agree. I totally agree.
Women have some insight into this, I think.
Rusty.
Yeah, and I think Emma gave an interview in 1913, I believe, where she was asked if she thought her sister was guilty, and she still said emphatically no.
Yeah,
she was not guilty.
That was an amazing interview too, and I would love to talk about that, but we're trying to stay focused here because there's so much about this case, and you can just get scattered all over the place. So,
well, we're just going to have to do this again, Kimbra.
Yes.
I see Rusty down there.
Rusty.
I know Rusty has something to say.
Taz probably does too.
I always have something to say. You know me by now. When Liz was writing all those nasty letters to the people with the dogs and the fences and all of that, was Emma still at Maplecroft, or was this after she left?
This was after Emma left.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say that probably also could have been oh God, now what is this woman doing? And who is she getting?
About the rooster crowing that kept her awake. Yes.
Yes, and so that's what I want to put. I agree with the party things, but I also wonder other little, like you say, she lost control, and she's saying like with the goings on. Now that big party was only one, but she probably had a whole bunch of other things, and we don't know all the little bits of details between sisters back then when the sisters. You know that there were families where like the sisters never married, so they all stayed together until they were 105.
Yes.
And one of them was the boss and the other one wasn't, and then they'd have fights and the whole thing. So it's that whole.
Yeah, it's tough for women to live together. It is.
Back then, but I'm sure there was quite a few things that Liz was like, no, I'm putting my foot down. This is what I'm doing, and you can't tell me what to do, big sister. So that, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Lori.
Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, good.
Lori.
Yeah, there's David.
Lori.
Who's going to chime in here?
I
I'm
think
sorry.
it's probably a combination of several things, but I did have a question. Lizzie was shunned, of course, after all of this happened. Did that carry over into Emma? Was she also kind of a pariah?
That's a
simply
very good
because she was
question.
Lizzie's sister?
Not that I've ever seen any evidence.
I don't think she was the social being anyways, that it would have made a whole lot of difference. But I often wondered if maybe she was kind of ostracized as well, simply because she was the sister.
She was very close with all of her family, her extended family in Swansea. And plus, she was right in Reverend Buck's pocket. She was practically another daughter of his. So she had clergy connections. I've never seen any evidence where Emma had to suffer because Lizzie was her sister. And if there is any, I'd love to see it.
Okay. Yeah. David.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good. I keep going in and out. I think I would be friends with Lizzie. I think that I feel that she, did what she had to do. I don't condone murder, but I think that she lived in a time where she had no choice, and she made a bad choice, but it gave her what she wanted. So I think Kimbra's book gave me a lot of information related to women of the time who were oppressed and suppressed, and they did what they had to do. I don't think that's the best choice, but it's a choice that she made. And when I see a picture of her in her older age, where she looks happy and relaxed and comfortable, I relate to that. I think that's good. I like that. But, I think she made a choice.
Yeah.
And I think she did what she had to do. And then she lived with it. And, she lived with it till she died.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for the reference. The plug.
It was great. Your book was excellent.
Thank you, David.
Yeah,
you're
I
one of
loved
my
your
biggest
book,
fans.
too.
Thank you.
Michael's read the book too.
And
I
you
loved
read
it.
Yeah, thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
I like I like the other women who committed murder at the same time.
Yeah.
And as a man, I appreciated that women were oppressed and had a difficult time. I don't condone murder.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But you can
But
sort of
I
understand
I
why.
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
And I never thought of what women went through. And it helped me to understand why someone would go to that degree.
Me too. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Kevy?
Did we hear from Kevy, Kimbra?
No, not yet, Kevy.
Okay, sorry, I missed this poll question online, but just getting to it and thinking about it now, I love the information that many of you have shared, that the feeling that Emma has lost control. And I remember the deathbed promise.
Yes.
Look after baby Liz. So I mean, and she took that to heart because she stayed with her throughout the trial. She was behind her and lived
Paid
with
her
her
legal fee too.
lived her afterwards. And then, like you said, things started careening maybe out of control in Emma's mind. So so I can see that. And then getting back to that quick question about the jury, when I was talking about the burning dress, I don't think it would have made me give a guilty a guilty charge, but like I was saying, it certainly would have raised questions with me. So
yeah, thank you so much. That before we go to Rena, she's going to share some tea time with us. I just want to make a quick comment, Kevin. That's a really good point as far as Emma and loyalty to Lizzie. That's number one.
Yes.
I thought it was an excellent point. And number two, something that Shelley, I thought about a lot. Being in the Borden house and then Maplecroft, if bedrooms tell a lot, right? You go in someone's bedroom, you see all their personal things, and you know they speak volumes to me. And Lizzie and Emma's bedrooms were very different. They had very different personalities. If you just want to look at the bedrooms, because Emma's always had the smaller bedroom, it was almost like a nun's layout, especially in Maplecroft. When I went in there, it was very plain. Just, you know, and Lizzie always had the finer things like her picture collection. She wanted the bigger bedroom that Emma gave her. But if you look at that, just that alone, you know, it struck me that Emma was kind of a prudish, you know, governed by religion type woman, and maybe
as much as we know, about her, she's kind of a dark horse.
It's
we
just a
don't
thought,
know a lot about her, do we?
Nothing.
I'd like to
We
know
know
more
nothing
about Emma
about
because she kept Emma to Emma pretty much, and her intimate friends. I would love to have interviewed Alice Buck or Evie Buck, one of the Buck, you know, and really got to know what went on. I went up to New Market last fall to do some work on the Connor sisters, where Emma spent her last years. And it's hard to get inside Emma's head exactly what she knew, what she was really like, but she seems to have been a much more discreet, contained, reserved person.
Yes.
Happy with not a lot of fuss. And Lizzie liked the nice things.
Yes.
Got a taste for them.
So Rena, on these hot summer days, now Rena works for a company, Sipology, and I love her tea. I do a writer's workshop at Hub 17 every month, and we have her tea there, and you know, some of it's like inflammation tea, and some people like that, and you know, like all different kinds of health kind of teas, but the ones I've been liking this summer are the fruity teas. But you're going to share a really nice tea for us today, and
it's not really a tea in the way that you think of it, though it is from the tea plant, and this is definitely something Lizzie would not have had much experience with, if any. Probably none. I don't think it was in the US at the time, but it's matcha. Matcha is powdered green tea. It's the same plant that makes white tea, green tea, black tea, pu'er tea, oolong tea. But instead of processing it the way that they do and drying the leaves like they do for tea, they actually take the plant when it's still in that green tea stage and they grind it up. The plant is grown specifically for the purpose of matcha. And there are only two places in Japan that are where you should get it from. One of them is Nishio, Japan, which is where our matcha comes from. And it is, instead of being infused in water, you actually ingest the leaves. So you get all of the great benefits of the tea plant. So all the antioxidants, and there are things about it, you know, lowering cholesterol, which is something I have personal experience with, yay matcha for me. Some say things with weight loss that I have not experienced personally, but it is a great way of getting energy, because unlike something like coffee, which has 90 milligrams of caffeine, and so you get that spike and then the crash, matcha only has about 34 milligrams of caffeine, same as a cup of green tea. And so you get that rise, but it doesn't spike, but then it stays consistent. So it's like if you wanted sugar and you would eat a banana versus a candy bar. They both have sugar. One will give you this, and the other one gives you a sugar energy that lasts. And so matcha is like that, unlike coffee. And a lot of times I will do a double matcha shot when I want a little more caffeine, because 34 milligrams of caffeine just isn't enough for me in a day or even in the morning. This morning I did a double shot of matcha, and I haven't had any caffeine since. I'm pretty wired. So today I'm starting with cold water. because you can make this matcha in cold or hot water, milk, or anything else. So I have two different types of matcha to show you. Both of the ones I'm going to show you are sweet matcha. They are sweetened with organic stevia extract or stevia leaf. It doesn't have that aftertaste of stevia like processed stevia does, but it also is better. It doesn't spike your sugar levels. So if you're diabetic or have any kind of sugar problems, stevia is much better for you because it doesn't raise the glucose. So there's also no calories because you need a lot less of stevia. So all of the matchas that I'm going to show today have 5 calories per serving. So today I have 2 different kinds of sweet matchas. Actually, I have 2 different types, but I have different flavors. One of them is a very new product. It is a fizzy matcha stick, which is able to replace soda if you want something fizzy and sweet and tasty that gives you a little bit of a boost. So I'm going to show you those second. But first, I want to start with just regular matcha. So there are 2 different ways that you could get the matcha. You can get them in little stick form, which is prepackaged, or you can get a full bag. And a full bag has, this one has 63 servings in it because it's a sweet matcha. The unsweet have 100 servings. So it's like $40 for a whole bag of this, which compared to a Starbucks matcha latte, if you've ever gotten one of those, whew. A lot of people say that matcha is bitter. There is a bitterness to it and sort of an earthy flavor. But if you get a high quality matcha, it is a delicious, only hint of bitterness, earthy flavor. And these taste like what they're flavored as. So here I have a lemonade sweet matcha stick. This is a new flavor that's coming out on Tuesday in matcha stick form, sweet strawberry shortcake matcha. And I just went for desserts tonight. The other one is sweet lemon meringue matcha. So those are the matchas that I have. So any choice in flavor on what you want me to make tonight? I have lemonade, strawberry shortcake, or lemon meringue. What would you like? Anybody?
Lemonade.
The lemonade one. All right. So we're going to go with the lemonade matcha stick. So these are prepackaged. You can just rip them. I'm just terrible at that. So I like cutting them to make sure that I don't end up spraying myself with matcha. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to dump this powder, which is green. If I were pulling it from a bag, I would use a half teaspoon. This happens to be a matcha spoon. It's a half teaspoon. It fits perfectly into the bag so you don't get a green powdered hand. And all I do is drop it into the water and then mix it. You can use a shaker bottle, but I'm going to use a little handheld milk frother. So I'm going to add that there. Just dropped it in. I know you can't see, so I'm going to hold that up so you could see. I don't know if you could see like the green powder on the top. Matcha does not dissolve, so you need to mix it well. You can mix it with as little as like a quarter cup of water and get what I call a matcha shot and just drink it back, which is what I do before I go to work in the morning. I do a matcha shot, make my tea, and I take my tea with me. So you'll see it's green, but it's a delicious flavor. If you wanted to make a matcha latte, which lemonade is usually not my pick to do a latte version, but I just pulled some milk to the side. The strawberry shortcake and the lemon meringue, you just add just a little bit of milk with it, mix it together, and it is outstanding. And it took, what, like 15 seconds to make? So it's a really quick way of getting an energizing beverage, which has a lot of good for you qualities and is really delicious. I have to be careful drinking it now because it's so late. But now onto the fizzy matcha sours, which again are new. So I have 3 flavors. There are actually 4 flavors. I don't have candy peach, which is delicious. I've smelled it. I've taken a tiny sip, but I'm allergic to peaches, so I don't have that. But I have here, this is key lime fizzy matcha sour, strawberry fizzy matcha sour, and this one's coming out on Tuesday. It's watermelon fizzy matcha sour. And so again, pick a flavor, any flavor. Which flavor should we do for this one?
Watermelon.
Watermelon, yeah, the watermelon's really great. So again, I could just rip it, but I'm gonna cut it instead. The cool thing about this is it really does fizz up because of the carbonation. So I'm gonna just dump this powder in. This time you could see, again, green.
Are they all green?
They're all green because matcha is green. It is powdered green tea and it is green. So it does look green, but you're gonna notice that as I whisk it up, my water was filled only partway. And now you can see how much higher it is. It's because it fizzed up. It's all the carbonation. So now it's like a a soda-like beverage because it has that fizzy, but it is good for you matcha. This whole thing is 5 calories, will give you energy that lasts for 4 to 6 hours with
Wow,
no
that's
crash
great.
whatsoever. And look there, you can see the fizzy head on it. And
How many calories were in that last tea that you just made? The one before this one?
5.
The one before as well?
Yeah, all of it. It's just 5 calories. And so for the fizzy matcha sours, I have a pack here. I could read you the ingredients if you're interested. Citric acid, sodium bicarbonate, that's the fizz. Green tea, sugar, which is organic cane sugar. There's 1 gram of sugar in a serving. That's really where the calories come from. Malic acid, lucuma powder. Lucuma is also a superfruit sweetener, so it has lots of good for you qualities, but it is also sweet. So it's another thing, like one of those super fruits. Lucuma, baobab, and I can't think of the third one that also is just like, wow, these are great to add to things.
Monk fruit?
Yes, monk fruit. That's the other one. Thank you. They're so good for you, but yet they're sweet and delicious. So there's strawberry powder, organic stevia extract, natural flavors. And it literally says, replace your morning coffee or afternoon energy drink with a low-calorie fizzy boost of matcha. Watch the fizz reaction right in your cup. And so that is it. It's 1 gram of sugar, 5 calories total for each stick. And this one, I don't have the ingredients of the lemonade one because I have the pack over there, but the lemonade meringue matcha, green tea, sugar, organic cane sugar, lemon peel, vanilla bean, organic stevia extract, natural flavors. And that's it. So that, and again, I usually will do a double dose of matcha if I'm not mixing it with tea, but I also mix it with tea. I'll put the matcha in first, whisk a little bit of water in it, because you could do hot water or cold or milk or anything, any liquid. And then I'll drop in my tea bag and I'll add the rest of my hot water. And so that I have a mix of those things. Now, one other thing with the lemonade matcha, which I just thought would be cool, I brought it out. There are lots of other things that Sipology has, natural health products that they've been branching into. And one of their newer one is the Greens Boost. So it's like a whole serving of vegetables, 23 vitamins and minerals in a scoop of also green powder. And this does taste a little more green, but this one is the host exclusive for the month of August. So you could get it really cheap. I think it's like $20 for this whole month's supply.
Oh,
and
wow.
You just add a scoop of it into water. You can have it by itself, or you can have it with pizza. And here's like a little scoop. And then you can have a lemonade matcha, but also lemonade greens boost drink. And there are other different vitamin boosters. Like there's a caramel mocha, vitamin D, a summer strawberry probiotic. In fact, this morning I had sweet strawberry shortcake matcha, 2 servings of that, with summer strawberry probiotic and strawberry banana vitamin D, which are vegan, all natural supplements that you just mix with a shake or with your tea or with your matcha and drink it back. And that was my morning caffeine this morning.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that with the group. The whole vegan thing is becoming more popular, and you know, a couple of people have asked me, "You got anything vegan?" And I have no clue what they're talking about, of course.
Yeah,
and
they don't list things as being specifically vegan in our catalog, because we do have honey lattes, which are made with locally sourced in Canada honey, and that is not vegan. Honey is not vegan. And there are a couple of products that contain lactose, which also not vegan. So the catalog is not vegan, but a lot of the items, like the vitamin D boosters, made with button mushrooms.
Oh, wow.
So
I do
no
love your
animal
product though, Rena. I do love your products. I'm big on the fruity kind of cold tea mixtures where I have the frozen fruit in the freezer and I just put that in too, and it's like a tea sangria. It's really good.
Which, if you choose, you can add alcohol to. They design a lot of these teas.
Yeah.
The great thing, this company is so cool that they've designed all their teas to be, they can be steeped hot or cold.
Yeah.
And you don't need a specific temperature. Usually, different types of tea, you need specific temperatures to steep them. Green tea needs a lower temperature than black tea, but these all can just be boiled water and it will work well, and you will get a high, tasty, quality result from it. And so it's easier then if you want to be like a true tea connoisseur and get the correct temperature, hot, cold, with alcohol, in milk, whatever it is you wish to do. So you can get really creative, which Kim knows I get pretty creative with my drink creations.
Rena did a tea party for us one day, and we were all hopped up on tea because we were trying out everything. Oh, you want to try some of this? Sure. It's like, it was good though. It was good.
Chocolate
And
matcha.
just a little FYI. Rena's an actress too on Staten Island. She's a school teacher. She wears many hats, and
My band, I'm actually wearing my band shirt today.
Oh, and she's in a band called the Flesh Junkies, which is a awesome band. I love them. They're this cabaret rock band, and like a woman of many hats and talents. And I just love you to death, Rena. Thank you. So getting back to our poll, Shelley. Oh, and I actually put your Sipology on our comments.
Oh, great.
The link to get to you.
If anyone has any questions about tea, I'll also include my email. Do we have like a chat here?
Yeah, we do have a chat. So you can
great.
put that
I'll
in
include
too.
my email. Like, you can ask me anything about tea if I can answer it, because I can't answer everything, but I can answer quite a bit at this point. Or if you're curious to find out more about the catalog, again, we have a new catalog that's coming out on Tuesday, the fall catalog, and it includes things like dairy-free hot chocolate. We have a cinnamon hot chocolate, salted caramel, peppermint, and just regular hot chocolate flavor. That's coming out in the fall catalog. And so there's a lot of great stuff. So tomorrow the website won't work, but on Tuesday the new products come out.
I'll put the link up for you on the group site. When the link comes out, I'll put it up for everybody on the group site, or you can, Rena, too, if you want.
I'll include my email in the chat. And again, reach out. I love talking tea. So
yes, she does.
There it is.
Well,
okay.
Are we all muted? Are we still muted here?
Well, I think we're all up and running. There's our last poll question, Shelley.
Yes, okay. Before we leave tea, Rena, I want you to invent a tea called Guilty. And
all right, let me write this down, because I'm going to need to think about what I want. Guilty.
It's guilty.
It might include chocolate, because
recently I published an article about Paris green, and when you held up that matcha, that fizzing matcha green, it's creepy looking. What a great drink for Halloween. It reminded me, at the time of the Borden case going on, there was poisoning case at the Cable House Hotel in Salisbury Beach, Massachusetts. Lizzie would have been seeing it. It was front page every day. Only the Borden murders knocked it off the front page. And once again, Moody was involved with that. It turned out to be arsenic in the teapot.
Yeah.
I thought, what a great idea. I've got spinster tea with Lizzie's face on the can.
Yeah, wasn't
it? I just bought tea and made the label. But Rena should invent maybe Guilty and with that Paris green. Yeah.
Well,
was
it last Halloween? I think, Rena, you did a poll or something to name a tea, and they came up with Down the Hatchet.
Down the Hatchet.
That one was my
that one was good.
My first creation on the show was Down the Hatchet. That one I did. I asked people what it should be called.
Yeah.
Because
I love it. I love Down the Hatchet. Okay, who wants to buy stock in our new Tea and Murder tea company? We'll put Twinings right out of business.
Who thinks Lizzie was guilty?
Oh, we're getting to that right now.
Well, I think that you could do an informal poll. You could have two types of tea: guilty and not guilty.
And not guilty.
Vote by the tea they select.
Well, yeah, and the not guilty could be matcha. It could be a matcha. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can see this, but here, since we're doing a poll.
Oh, there you go.
Can you read that?
I have to see what.
That's great.
Oh, the merchandising and marketing. There's some great minds here. I can see the talent we have right here on the screen. Well, we saved the best for last, and our fourth question was, the most likely suspect for the murders of Abby and Andrew would be one of the following. Choose one or give another under other. And 56% said it was Lizzie, it was premeditated, and she did it alone. Of that percent, we'll break it down even further. 36 said she did it alone, premeditated. And then 20% of that 56% said with the help of an accomplice. Someone actually did the dirty deed, but she assisted. And then 20% said other. And some of those questions or comments were interesting. 12% said an angry person who had had bad dealings with Andrew Borden. 4%, this was a surprise, Lizzie with Uncle John, because Uncle John usually comes in for the big hit. He didn't this time. Homicidal maniac with no motive, 0. No one was buying that some crackpot just came in. So by far, over half thinks Lizzie had something to do with it, and 36% think she swung the hatchet solo. So now I can't wait to hear what you have to think, you have to say, and what you
Be
think
careful,
about it.
Shelley. She's right behind you.
So let's start with Rena at the top corner. Rena, while you're, So
Watch
do
what you
think?
say.
Did she? Who was
I
guilty
forgot.
of the crime?
She lives in that corner. Yeah, she's going to Fall River with me next week. You'll be seeing her in the videos. So we want to start with Stephen.
I was going to start in the corner with Rena, and then work our way down.
We'll go backwards this time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. I do think Lizzie did it. I'm not completely sure if she did it alone or if Emma had helped plan it. But the amount of time, the time between her stepmother and father's murder just says it was someone who was there because they had to stick around. And she was there. I'm pretty sure Emma was away, right?
Yeah.
At the time?
Oh, yes. Yes.
But I'm not convinced that she didn't know about it. I think that she might have and have been in on it, and that it was a sister thing, but Lizzie did the deed. So on the day, it was Lizzie alone, but whether Emma was part of it or not, maybe. But I do think she did it.
Oh, it's Rusty's on the bottom. Okay, I see you now. Rusty, what do you have to weigh in on here?
I also agree with Arena that Emma was in on it, and I think they plotted, and then Lizzie said to her, "Why don't you disappear for a while? I'll take care of everything. Leave it to me, and I'll let you know when it's done." But I do think, as we all, quite a few of us believe, that Andrew was not intended, but he had to go just the way circumstances went.
Yes, that was one of the comments. We had collateral damage.
Yes.
Wrong place, wrong time. Mhm.
And also another wacky thing that people have mentioned. When she yells for Bridget to come downstairs, Bridget starts to go to see where Andrew is. Lizzie has the door shut and says to her, no, don't go in there. Go for Dr. Bowen. And then when she tries to come back, she sends her someplace else.
Mm-hmm.
What's in that room that
Yes.
she didn't want Bridget to see and send Bridget out, which would give her enough time to run in that room and take out
Something.
who, maybe for those people who think there's another person, who was in that room or what was in that room that she had to shut that door. I don't believe it would be like, oh, I got to shut the door because I don't want to see what happened. Because if she was in the other room, she already saw it. She knew what happened. She knew what happened. Why would you shut the door?
That's an interesting point, but weren't the doors shut already?
I believe the door was shut. I just read this the other day, so my brain is all over the place. But when Bridget wanted to go in there, she stopped her and said, "No, don't go in there."
Oh, this is out in the back hall.
I could see, if you want to play devil's advocate, you could say like, "Oh, you don't want to see that. No, I don't want you to see how horrible it is. It's a horrible thing. I'm going to save you that." But at the same time, you're like, No, don't go in there. Hurry up and go. Get out of here. Go someplace else.
Yeah, and Rusty, don't you think most normal people would have been scared to be alone in the house?
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing too. It's like, oh, somebody came in and killed him, and
I'd say,
I'm just gonna
Bridget,
sit
take me with
here
you.
and wait for
leave it,
people to
baby.
come.
Yeah, Lizzie stayed there. Yeah.
All by herself.
Yeah.
And didn't even get outside. I mean, she didn't even go out on the step or out in the driveway until help could come. That's always been a problem for me. Doing the tours for so many years, I would always ask, the guest, if this were you, you've come in from the barn and you see what you see, what would you do? And everyone said the same thing. I get the hell out of the house. And she never did, never made a move to leave. And the only other living person was Bridget, and she gets her out of the house. And actually, Mrs. Churchill doesn't even get to come in. She pretty much sees somebody across the street and then goes to get help there. But Lizzie had no problem staying in that house by herself.
Right.
So
yeah,
that's
we
very
lost a few
telling.
people again. We lost Lori and Kevy and Michael. But yeah.
Oh, well.
So,
okay, mate.
But we'll go to Craig.
Yeah, I think Shelley, I think you were the one that told me that there's 3 groups regarding Lizzie: those that believe she's innocent, those that believe she's guilty, and those that believe she's guilty but don't want her to be.
But don't want her to be.
Exactly. Right. So I fall into the 3rd group. Yeah, I'm convinced she's guilty. Absolutely convinced she did it. I'm not 100%, as Rena said, I'm not 100% convinced that Emma maybe wasn't necessarily a part of it, but wasn't aware of it. Or, I don't know. I think Emma had to, even though she stuck by her sister and said she's not guilty, I have to believe that she at least suspected, if she wasn't involved in it. How could you not? I mean, as far as the other people, I mean, Bridget had no motive, obviously. Morse had no motive. He wouldn't have inherited any of the money, as far as I know. She had the means, the motive, and the opportunity. Maybe we can do a Zoom another day.
Yeah.
Regarding how there was no blood on her, all that, because I have some theories about that, how she could have avoided that. Or after she killed Abby, she certainly had enough time to clean herself up after that.
Yes.
Yeah, a little less time with the father, but again, there's theories about how she could have avoided getting a lot of blood on her. But I'm in the group that believes she did it. I'm not 100% sure Emma wasn't somehow involved or wasn't aware of it, but I think she did it. I just don't want her to be guilty, though. She's guilty, but I don't want her to be.
Yeah, Judy Baker said that she always had mixed thoughts about this. So she's chiming in from their chat.
Oh, you're reading comments. Yeah. Who haven't we heard from?
Well,
Me.
For this, we haven't heard from, David, Russ.
Who's in the middle
David
there?
And, Stephen and Tracy, too.
I think she did it. And she did it because she needed to. And she got what she needed. And she lived happily ever after. She was happy. And I think she might have been abused. I think she had a rough life and she made a bad choice, but it served her well. And I like her. I would have probably been her friend. And although I don't, like I said, I don't condone murder, I like her. I think it's rough. I think something bad happened to her, and I think she took it to the extreme. And what happened, and she made out. That's what I think.
Well, David, do you like young Lizzie at 32, or do you like the older Lizzie who?
Well, I see pictures of the older Lizzie. And I love that. And I see how relaxed she is. And I am happy for that. I also have a daughter who gets very mad. And so I understand the anger. I don't think it's right, but I can see how it can happen. And she just happened to live at a time where she made out. Whether when she died and she met her maker, I don't know if she made out, but she lived happily ever after on Earth. And I appreciate the pictures of her as an elder woman holding her dog Laddie.
Yes, I had a good time with that, colorizing it today.
Beautiful.
I think it was
beautiful.
excellent. And I think she looked like a relaxed person who had a good life. And I feel bad for her.
Yeah. So
I feel bad for her.
Yeah. I feel you, David. We have a couple comments, and then we'll get to Stephen and Tracy for this answer. So Joanne Walker said, I think Lizzie did it and did it alone. I do believe Emma figured it out real fast, but stuck with her sister or maybe was in denial of some sort. And then Robin said, did anyone hear the story of two psychic teens brought to 2nd Street house and they were upset because they said he is really mad? I'm not sure of that question, Robin. We'll brew on that one a little bit. Okay, so Stephen and Tracy.
I'm going to go with a couple of theories. I mean, I was always of the frame of mind that there was more than one person involved. Because Lizzie, I think on her own, and this is something I just started actually formulating probably in the last couple of days, knowing what the abusive relationship was between her and I'm thinking their old dad and her had a very unnatural relationship with her. I'm almost thinking almost like a Stockholm syndrome type of thing where she was actually conditioned to be obedient. So I'm not sure she would have had the ability to really hatchet him up, because in fact, I think she would have found it to be a great betrayal. On the other hand, I think the hatred for the stepmother was so strong that she could have done that. And money is a great polluter of morals. I mean, people do strange things over money. And I think the fact that part of the estate was going to be given to stepmom was insulting to the family. And I'm thinking maybe Uncle John was also part of that insult. I think he was insulted too because he didn't feel like she was deserving of it. So I think the entire family as a whole had motive. Now it's just trying to figure out who were the players. Mm-hmm. And I'm not so sure that Lizzie would have had the ability to do so, other than the stepmom. I think there was a concerted effort on that one. I do believe that Andrew might have been collateral damage to the fact that he wasn't due to come home. They came home at an unusual time, unusually early. So he wasn't supposed to be there, but he walked in on a really bad time. So with all those different things put together, and then with the lack of evidence to really put Lizzie away, I think a lot of people just found that she was convenient to be the fall guy because either she was going to take the fall for it, and people could have gone either way, that her psychiatric health would have been a perfect patsy play, or you can use that to say that she couldn't have done it because in fact she didn't have the capability and other players were involved. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of different ways you can lean on that. So there's nothing clean cut. And I think right now, because of the fact that it's been open for so long, all we can do is guess. And have theories about what the best players could be and why. I'm not 100% on any one of them. So if I were to sit down on a jury, even at this day and age, I doubt if I could convict anybody.
Yeah, Tracy, you feel the same way, or you feel differently?
I don't feel the same way about the Stockholm syndrome. I do believe that she did it, and I think Emma does know about it. Once in a while, I start thinking that maybe Uncle John has something to do with it, since he supposedly can't got any luggage or anything, just showed up. But that's my opinion. Then I was just thinking, imagine if she was found guilty, would we all still be this obsessed with her? You know what I mean? I wonder what.
Well, that's a good question too.
Yeah,
Like if we knew, the answers, we wouldn't be here because
I was just
it's
about
what makes us
right to
excited
say,
about this true crime, right?
do you want to know if someone, the heavens would open up and say, here's the answer? Would you want to know?
Well, that question that they always asked you, if you could meet somebody dead or alive, who would you want to meet? One of those people for me would be Abby, not necessarily Lizzie, but Abby.
Oh.
Because she saw her killer.
Yeah.
So I would want to meet that person.
That's true.
I just think Lizzie knew how to take care of business, and Lizzie took care of business.
Yeah, David, I have a question for you, and Lori wanted to pose a question too. And it's not a quick answer, but hopefully you can condense it a little bit. So why do you think Lizzie was abused, and what evidence do you have?
I don't have any evidence.
Okay.
But I do know that someone who is in that situation, I think it's suspect. I think it could be a situation where she could have been abused. And I'm imagining that I don't know who else would have done it. And I think that that she had a situation where she was enraged and she did what she had to do to take care of business so that she could get what she needed. And so I think that she did whatever she had to do. Whether she was abused or not, I think that she needed something, and she needed people to be out of her life. And the two people that disappeared from her life made it possible for her to have the life that she wanted.
Right. I think so. If you're going to say abused, not necessarily physically abused. I mean, there is such a thing as mentally abused. So
Correct.
I think maybe mentally abused in the family by her father,
Correct.
By the oppression. Correct. And, not
or
getting
sexually. Who knows?
Possibly. I mean, that's been brought up, but I tend to kind of stay away from that because where would be the opportunity to do that? Because there was always someone in the house. Well, there was always someone in the house. So, I mean,
no,
you know what I'm saying?
He could have had any opportunity to abuse his daughters, and but so we don't know.
He doesn't strike me as that man. But if you want to go there was an opportunity when John Morris was in the house when she was young. And if anybody's going to be an abuser, maybe it was the uncle, because Lizzie never liked her uncle. Emma's the one that got along with him, not Lizzie.
Well, I think that
many women, God, here we go with the.
I think that many women are abused, and many women were abused.
Yeah.
And I just, think that that's a strong possibility because he had a woman who he may not have been attracted to. It was a woman who he married for convenience. So I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Thoughts, anyone? The floor
I
is
want to
open.
know, how did he get into the bedroom with the door locked?
Well, that's just it. Where was the opportunity?
And Emma,
how does any
a padlock on
pedophile, how does any sexual predator get in anywhere?
What I was saying when Lizzie was young, Shelley, when Lizzie was young, she was 12 years old. And how old was she when Emma went to college or went to the Wheaton school? Because that left Lizzie alone in the house.
Yeah, that's true. When Emma went off
if
to
there was
Wheaton,
an opportunity, it would be that around that time period, right?
Yeah, okay. That's that. I could buy that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because she was a young girl. Emma was away for a month or so at the Wheaton.
Emma was, I think, about 12 or 13, I think.
Right, and Lizzie was younger. Oh, was she?
Yeah, but Lizzie's
I thought she was older when she went to the Wheaton school. I thought Lizzie was around 12 when Emma went to the Wheaton school. I may be wrong. We'll have to look that up.
They sent Emma off right after they got married. They got married in 1865. So that would have made Lizzie 5 years old, I think. And,
okay.
And Emma would have been, 13, 14.
14.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
When-
don't think they would abuse a child that young.
Oh,
Well, you never know.
never
Well,
know.
if it is,
You
that's really
can't
sick.
know.
Yeah.
You can't know.
Yeah.
And you wonder why someone would have that rage if
Right,
they did it.
Right.
I
Right.
mean,
And
I
there
have-
is a section in my book about incest and
Correct.
right. I did write about it, not saying that it happened or not, but to go over what happens to a person psychologically if, the trigger mechanisms and all of that, if it happens to a person. But that has always been an interesting thought.
Well,
But
I appreciated that you wrote about people who are in situations where they have no power,
right,
and they have someone who's domineering
mm-hmm.
and who has all the power. And in order to gain power, they have to get rid of that thing,
Right.
Yeah.
the tyrant.
Mm-hmm.
And then she got rid of the tyrant and the situation. And what happened next? What happened next? They lived happily ever after.
Yes. Or some of them did.
Well,
Yeah.
Lizzie and her sister
Yeah.
didn't have anything to worry about.
Yeah. But Lizzie and her sister never talked to each other ever after Emma left, which I find very sad also. Why?
Yeah.
What was so bad that they would cause sisters not to ever talk to each other again? I mean,
Well, my sisters have done things that I don't like, and they're incidental. And so it could have been incidental. We will never know.
Yeah.
It happens in every family for sure. I have relatives I don't speak to either. For
geez.
Correct.
I regress.
For stupid
I digress
reasons.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about murder, much smaller than murder.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But
we
she
have
got-
about 15 minutes left. Does anybody want to add to the case about anything? Rena?
Well, I had a question about what was just said. So, with the abuse situation. Now, I guess I'm unfamiliar. There were locks on the bedroom doors on Emma. So I would have to say if their father was abusing them, he would not have allowed locks on their bedroom doors.
He locked a door that was between they had a door that was between their bedrooms.
That
was
I understand.
locked. But he also put a key on the mantelpiece that allowed anyone to access his room. And he did it in bold daylight. And so it wasn't like he didn't have any access. He could go from his room to the front room and up the stairs. I don't think there was a lack of access.
Well,
it was
he
That
did the
didn't
locks
happen.
because there was a thief in the house, he thought.
Yeah. This was the year before.
Correct.
Yeah.
When they
Correct.
started locking everything, but Lizzie locked her bedroom door, which opens out on the landing on the second floor. She put a latch hook in the adjoining master bedroom wall she shared with the master bedroom. And Emma's bedroom was literally inside of Lizzie's bedroom.
Right.
But she didn't have any lock when she was a child.
Correct.
Right. That's
If the lock wasn't added until after that
It was
robbery,
more
and especially
recent,
if Lizzie
right.
put that up herself, that actually does point more to the possibility that now she was trying to lock someone out who
Well, we know who that was. It was Abby Borden she was locking out. The girls didn't want Abby. They were using the guest room like a little apartment and the 2 bedrooms. That was their turf up there. Bridget wasn't even allowed up there to clean.
I always
So-
thought that was
But
a weird though. And this planet, the Elizabeth Montgomery movie kind of planted a seed for me, which is ridiculous. But I always felt like there was like this emotional, like a loving relationship between Lizzie, her father, and herself for at least an extended period of time until it went bad. And I think the trigger was when he sold the house. and gave the,
Oh,
the
yeah.
girls the money. That was a trigger right there. But I always felt like they got along because he gave her gifts and everything. But then you could argue, David, why did he give her those gifts? To keep her quiet?
Correct.
Or happy,
and why did
or,
she give him a ring?
Right.
And why
Well, no,
why would any child
that ring
have
is a
any
myth.
understanding?
That
But
ring is a myth. It was
Okay.
never a ring. They didn't make, from my understanding, they didn't make class rings at that time period. He gave her a pin, or she gave him, Shelley, help.
It was a little gold ring. It wasn't a class ring.
Oh, okay.
Gold
Okay,
ring.
so
Yeah, it was a ring.
I take that back. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't a
so
class ring.
what?
no.
But what child would have the ability to discriminate between someone who was a manipulator and who abused them and who wanted to please her father? So I think that we will never know, and we can't know, but we can think that if she killed her father, that maybe she needed to get rid of him because he was he hurt her. Maybe she was.
Yeah, but after he was dead, she was obsessive about going to the cemetery. Mr. Lomax would walk her out to the grave. Oh, my dear father, she tended that grave, and mourned him like nobody's business. Not so much the stepmother.
Well,
But is that a
lover,
manipulation? Is
as
that you
somebody who was a manipulator,
Yeah.
a lover, someone who coerced their child? Who knows? Maybe
Wow.
she had a loving relationship with him.
Yeah, what a
And
thought.
And why would she destroy his face?
I think she was friendly with him, like overly friendly, maybe, so Abby wouldn't be interfere with the relationship with Abby, because she didn't want Abby to have all the wealth and stuff. And Bridget, if you remember, there were comments made. Abby paid Bridget to stay on. She raised her salary to stay on, because I felt like Abby maybe wanted to use Bridget as a buffer, to sort of stay there, to stay, to keep everybody kind of in check. Because
I think Abby was actually nice to Bridget.
Oh yeah, she was.
Nobody else was nice to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Abby was.
An ally. Yes, she needed an ally, didn't she?
Yeah.
And think of Andrew in a house with 4 unhappy women.
Oh boy,
what a life he had!
Couldn't imagine.
Nobody was happy.
No wonder he was grouchy.
Yeah.
And why would you hit people that many times in the head and face? Why would you want to obliterate their head and their face?
Well, that's what Holly just said. The rage.
The rage.
That was applied.
Why would you want to get rid of that?
It's true. It's true.
I do have an answer. It's very basic. I sort of think murder can be very simple. You can make it very complicated, but the nature of the beast. If you're going to kill somebody with a hatchet, you certainly aren't going to hit him in the arm or the leg.
Correct.
You can survive that. You want to obliterate and kill somebody, you're going to go for the brain.
Correct.
And that's why I think they're hit in the head. There was a psychologist many, many years ago, 91, who, supported the incest theory, saying that the eyes of Borden's eye was bisected, and the eyes that had seen things that shouldn't have been seen. And they see that in incest cases where the eyes and the face are attacked. And that was her point, to support maybe incest. I would say if I had to kill somebody, I sure would go for the head. You don't want a chance that they survive and tell.
Correct.
You would make sure they're dead, most sincerely dead. And in that case, that's why I think, and he's lying on his back on the sofa. And what's exposed? The front of his head.
Yeah.
Abby turns her back. The first blow comes from the front over her left ear, but then the rest are at the back because she's on the floor on her stomach. and that's why that ends up on the back. So it helps,
and the
to
forensic
experiment with these things.
And the forensic expert we had on, Tom, he went into this whole elaborate thing about how, like when you die, your body freezes. Like if you were going to protect yourself, so if Andrew was going to protect himself in death, his arms would still be in like a defense position, because rig would set in and the body would stay that way. I don't know. He went into this whole elaborate thing, but I think that's a really, really super tough.
I think that to look at someone who loves animals, who loves children, and who looks so peaceful in photos, I think that they are a truly nice person who loves happiness and animals and peace, and was in a situation where it was not that type of situation. And she got herself out. And she lived the rest of her life in situations where she was able to express love and happiness and affection. Nance O'Neill.
Well, go ahead, Dave.
Except for her sister.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with you with that. I don't think Lizzie in her later life ever really expressed love and affection. I think she paid it. Like by buying
she loved
gifts,
her animals. She loved her animals.
She
for
did
free.
love her animals. Yeah, I mean, but that was
Lizzie
basically
wasn't known
the
to be
only
very,
thing. I mean, there were no like hardcore relationships with people after the murders. I mean, she paid like with children. She gave a lot of children gifts. She did a lot of donations to the animal groups, of course. But she left Fall River a lot to go to Washington, to go on trips. She was never really in the one housemaid, she was close to, died. She was upset, but
Hannah Reagan.
Right.
Yeah.
But I never saw her as this affectionate. In fact, we talked about this today. She wrote to the neighbors to, hey, could you keep your dog quiet? Your bird's driving me nuts. I hear him on the porch. Could you shut him up? All those letters, they weren't nice letters. They were kind of polite, but they were like,
but she sure loved her animals.
That came late.
3 dogs.
She did, David, and that came late. Nancy O'Neill was a big animal lover, but it was Helen Layton that got Lizzie into anti-vivisection, animal cruelty, the
preventing it.
And what Helen Layton wrote, did an article with the newspaper too, saying about Lizzie and how she felt later in life, how she was depressed, down all the time. She was alone a lot of the time. I don't think she was happy in her later life.
Well, like I said, I would be friends with Lizzie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so maybe
she's happy to hear that.
Maybe I see some things in her that I recognize in myself.
Well, sure.
She did love the arts. I have to give her that. She did love the arts. Yeah.
I've talked to Shelley about this. I share a birthday with her. We're born under the same sign. So, and
awesome.
when I hear about her personality traits, a lot of them are very familiar to me. So I probably would have gotten along, well, minus the murderous rage part, but I probably would have gotten along with her. A lot of her personality traits, I've experienced myself. Maybe because we're born under the same day, the same sign, or whatever. I don't know how much that has to do with it, but very similar personalities. The more I read about her, the more I'm like, that kind of sounds like me. So it's a little strange.
Oh,
you like that too?
I don't know. It's very strange.
Well, she's like a superhero, sorta, in a bad way.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I love
like
that
I
you
said,
say that. Yes.
I believe she was guilty, but I don't want her to be. So that's how it is.
That's a good way to put it.
Stephen, what were you going to say there?
I was going to ask if you'd like to eat pears also.
Do I like pears?
No. Does Craig like to eat pears?
Oh.
Oh, Craig.
I do actually. I like pears and peaches and plums. That's my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's another thing, Rena. You could do maybe a pear tea.
A pear tea.
Yeah.
We may, I think that we actually have a cinnamon pear tea that's coming out in this catalog, but we haven't had any pear tea before because otherwise I would have used that already.
I just had one yesterday, actually. I
So,
do like pears.
Pears.
So,
So there's 2 ideas for our new company we're all going to start.
It should be called 3-pair tea.
Pear tea. Oh gosh. Okay, we'll make a
I
fortune.
ate 3 pears and then I went in the house.
Yeah, yeah, good one.
Absolutely.
So
I love
I
it.
want to get to our raffles.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna give away some stuff. So I put everybody's name in this, and the people in the chat too. Everyone that's been here, I put their name in. All right, so I am going to give away a Lizzie Borden pillow from the Lizzie Borden shop. So, you know, I'm here. Hello. Ta-da! Tracy Kennedy.
Awesome.
Tracy, I'm going to be sending you the Lizzie Borden pillow from the Lizzie Borden shop.
Oh, nice.
That's exciting. All right.
Just don't lay on a sofa with it under your head.
Exactly.
Aha, that's
Or at least keep your eyes open if you
Keep
do.
your eyes open.
So, Shelley, what are you raffling off?
Well, I'm going to raffle off a copy of Dressing Miss Lizzie.
All right.
It's
Does
Lizzie
does
Borden
it-
paper dolls based on newspaper testimony of what she wore. Oh, I can't zoom out, but oh, there they are, all the dresses. And my first book, which came out in 2011, this is Borden-related graves in Oak Grove Cemetery, how to find them, the autopsies in here, and a bunch of other information who's not in Oak Grove that you thought might be in Oak Grove related to the case. And there are pictures of all the gravestones, Victorian mourning customs, and all of that stuff.
Okay. So, if you who has those books? Anyone?
Craig has the
Well,
yeah.
I told Shelley, yeah, I got the paper dolls one, not because I want to make paper dolls. But the
Which
reason
is
I got
okay.
it, yeah, no, but the reason I
Sure
got
you
it,
don't.
no, the reason I got it was because when they start talking about, oh, she was wearing a what is it called, a Bedford
Bedford cord.
Bangaline, Bedford cord.
Angeline silk.
Bedford cord dress and a pink wrapper. I don't know what any of that means.
Yeah.
So if I want to visualize what that is, how do I do that?
Shelley's
and when I
book.
saw her book, I'm like, oh, well, there it is. Now I can kind of picture what she might have been wearing or something similar to
like
it.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I
and-
bought the book.
Yeah, Shelley, that Paper Dolls book helped me a lot too in
Right.
the Bedford cord dress, because when they mentioned the sprig pattern, I didn't think it was a pattern. I just thought it was a thing on like a little
Right.
emblem. And then when I saw it, I thought, oh, that makes sense now. It's a pattern.
Yeah.
So
Now I can
clarified
visualize
a lot of things.
I
yeah.
can visualize her wearing
So
this
look,
and know what they mean when
So,
what they mean when
Shelley,
they say that. So that's why I got the book.
if I draw Craig's name, can you just pick the book that he doesn't have?
Well,
Yeah.
no, if you have
Give it
both
to
of
somebody
them,
else.
actually, if you have them both, I have all kinds of stuff I can send you instead.
Okay.
Well, the other book I don't have. But,
All right.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
go
so we're
Grove,
gonna go.
enjoy.
We'll go with one of them. All right. Who is this? This is Lori. She's not here, but Lori's gonna get what? Lori Anthony. She was here, but she left. But
Okay.
Shelley, so which one were you gonna give her? The Paper Dolls one?
Well, I guess I know she doesn't have it. I know who has bought them over the
Okay,
years.
so Paper Doll.
Okay.
All right, writing that down. Now we're going for the cemetery.
Oak Grove Borden-related
Oak Grove.
cases.
I have
yeah.
that one too. It's good.
Well, it's useful when you're in the cemetery, where I'll be next week,
Okay, so Robin.
trying to find things.
Robin is on our chat. Robin Millimick.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And you'll take care of getting their addresses so I can
Yes.
ship them. In fact, I'll ship them out from Fall River, so you'll get the postmark.
That's cool.
Fall River Air in this bag. Yes. We're all getting excited, and it's terrible to be excited about a murder, but this time of year, our minds are turning. What's happening now?
Mhm.
You know, did Lizzie go to church today? Because this year, it's the days match up. You know, this actually would have been Sunday in 1892, and the murder is going to be on Thursday this week. So it's that's.
I always wondered, is she having second thoughts, or is she just waiting for it, or is she committed to doing it and just waiting for the right moment? What's going through her head? Yeah.
So
And every day I look at Warps and Wefts, and I follow your Facebook page, and I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah,
it's
I
great.
think
I love it.
Shelley,
Well, you know-
your website is the best source. It really is the best information out there. I think
Absolutely.
for
It's
all
helped
of
me a
us.
lot. Find things that, like the Lizzie collectibles and all that.
Oh my gosh.
Also, that's
Well,
I
you
love the
know,
videos, too.
it's no fun having this passion alone. I got to talk to all you guys out there. You know, it's like we need to share this stuff. And I'm always looking for some little thing that might add to the knowledge or thought provoking and a little missing.
I like that you dress Lizzie up all the time, and you put a new hat,
Oh, yeah.
and you put flowers on her head. I love that.
And the glasses.
I thought the courthouse was the best one.
Oh, the
Oh,
courthouse.
yes.
Yeah, that was fun.
Well,
Yeah.
everybody knows her. When I go to Fall River, everybody knows Flat Lizzie. And people come out on the street and the kids want to, pose with her out on the street. And she's coming up with me next week and she will
Oh,
be,
good.
everywhere in front of the courthouse. And
So
We love it.
So
Well,
Shelley,
now
keep us
she's
posted
Shelley. Now
and
she's
post.
not being shunned anymore.
they love her in Fall River now.
Exactly.
She's a popular girl there.
It only took 130 years.
Only took 130 years. I know.
So
But I used to teach, and this kind of thing, when you show up with the big paper doll like this, it's an entree into getting other people interested in the history of the case and the history of the city. Fall River has all kinds of history, not just Lizzie. Textiles, steamships, all kinds of stuff. Great place. And, whatever teaching tool you can come up with it's all good in my book.
I'll get there. I'll get there either in the fall or early next year. I'm from New Jersey. It's not that big a drive for me to maybe 4 hours there, maybe.
5.
If
Try
any of
5
you
in traffic.
come,
Yeah.
Yeah, I love to give people tours, and I've given hundreds of them over the years. So, Craig, any of you guys, you think you're going to be in Fall River, you let me know, and I will meet you. And you
And
will.
Shelley has a great podcast that she tells the whole story, and I forget what it's called. It's called You Do an Interview, and it's excellent, and it's about the entire crime. It's on History Tavern.
Oh yeah, Nick Thorney, you saw that? Yeah, we did that a couple.
I listened to it several times over.
Wow, I'm surprised. I didn't think anyone had seen that one, but yeah,
I send it to everyone.
Oh, thank you again. Yeah,
Like I
it's
said,
good to
David's
get
our biggest
feedback.
fan, right?
Yeah.
I
Well,
am.
you put stuff out there. You don't know if you're finding your audience or if they think you're a flaky old dame who needs to get a life. Who knows? I'm loving it. I enjoy what I do for people, and I love meeting people.
So I really enjoyed meeting all of you.
Same
It
here.
was really a lot of fun, and we will do this again. Our next podcast is going to be in October. Sometime around Halloween. We're thinking about guests, and we're thinking about Shelley. Hopefully, she'll charm him up.
Get Mr. Spencer.
Yes,
Bill
Mr. Spencer,
with
because
his
he has a
book.
new book out
I have to
right
get to
now.
him.
So maybe
Well-
we'll have him on.
I'm going to bring Flat Lizzie up to his desk when I buy his book, and I'm going to have her ask him to come on our podcast
Just-
for Halloween.
Shelley, take a couple extra bucks and pay him under the table. Right?
Well, who could resist Lizzie? Who could
well,
just look at
Shelley.
that face? You know.
Oh, yeah, well, her stare. It's her stare. All she has to do is stare at him, and he will not say no. Trust me.
Okay.
And Rena,
Where
thanks
does
for
one get a
doing
spot,
tea
Lizzie?
time. We appreciate you. We love
Thanks
your
for
tea.
having me. I always enjoy it.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
So we're signing off now, and everybody have a nice rest of the summer. I'm sure we'll talk online, and thank you all for participating in this. I thought it turned out pretty good.
It was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah.
And we'll be seeing
Awesome.
you. Kimber and I will be on every day. It starts tomorrow. It's like
Look at her
Super Bowl.
volunteering me.
Oh yeah, you know you're going to be there. Yeah, I'll be on the ground, Wednesday morning and through Friday, and I'm planning to cover. There's a lot of Lizzie stuff going on at the Historical Society, the Public Library in Somerset, and also in Fall River. And I'll be at the house because for the past 30 years, I've got to be on 2nd Street around 9:30 on August 4th. You better believe I'll be looking up at that window. I'll be thinking of all of you.
And Shelley, I appreciate also the help
you guys,
the artifact, the Lizzie spoon.
Yeah.
I'm still.
You guys are awesome. Thank you
right.
so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
and we will see you all soon. All
Thank
right.
you.
Have a good one.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. It was a lot of fun.
A lot of